Good evening. Welcome to your Ass Hurts News Network. Coming to you live from the tip top of Cock Tower Square with your host, Sergeant Friday. Sarge, how you doing?
Well, happy Friday, Friday. Yeah, I don't want to get caught in that loop again, but yeah, it's rather confusing. Am I talking to myself? Am I talking about the day? I don't know where to go with all of that.
Uh, or are
What are
you
you up
talking?
to there,
Oh,
Cletus?
what?
What are you guys up to over there? Are you guys still embroiled into Sebastian or Seth, the fat bastard? Fucking.
Yeah,
Good God.
yeah. Clue had to go on her her live and tell how she feels about this and that today, and but the positive thing of the day is she added up the donations thus far, and the goal was to get these 22 billboards maintained until sometime mid August, and as of today, we're there.
Oh,
So
that's awesome.
literally 2 days live, and there we've already got enough funds to maintain them. So anything that comes in additional, we'll see what Chris and Katie want to do with it and go from there.
That's
But
pretty awesome, man.
the fucking community rocks, man.
I say put it in my T-bone fund.
Put it in your T-bone fund.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, why not? Meat funds are just awesome, bro. So did I tell you my latest new joke?
What's your latest new joke?
So what's the difference? Clue, you might know this since you're part of the help desk. Is she there?
Yeah,
She graced us with her presence, dear God.
for a
Oh,
minute.
Elvis is in the building.
She's got a birthday party to go to, so you better ask her quick.
So what's the difference between an asshole and a refrigerator?
I don't know.
Refrigerator don't fart when you pull meat out of it.
Ew.
Come on, Clue. What do you mean, ew?
Terrible.
Err.
Ugh.
Oh my God! How do you know the rump roast is bad, Clue? When you open the refrigerator and it farts.
What were you
Birthday
doing?
party.
Fart jokes all day?
Well, no. I've had these in the back. I've kept them in my back pocket for a while. It was time to release the gas. What the hell?
You
What's your
could have
birthday
just said
party?
you
Whose
what?
birthday? Whose birthday?
Savage.
Oh, 40. She's 49?
Yeah.
She is.
I don't think so. She looks older than that to me. Let her know I said so.
He said, "Let her know." He said so.
49? Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what she says.
God,
I got
that doesn't
no
seem right.
reason to doubt it.
What about the amount of experience she has in life? Does she add that to the 49? Like 49 and 11 years of experience or something like that? Nothing like that?
My God.
Oh fuck, that's funny.
I don't.
You got to cut that out of this and then go play it for a birthday party. That'll make things go over the fucking edge. Did you get her any gift?
What?
Did you get her a gift?
I sent her money this morning. She's just doing a birthday party stream.
Money? Jesus, you can send me money anytime.
You don't need money.
That is true. I don't need or want anybody else's money, but you can still send it. I find something to do with it. I bring it to Wild Fork to get me some more T-bones. Man,
He's-
I'm telling you, you don't know what you're missing out until you get a T-bone from Wild Fork. 2-pound
It's.
T-bone.
I was on there today looking at their stuff.
The T-bones are now 1.85 or something like that pounds. They're $17, but give me more. Oh yeah.
Apparently they can only give you so much because you fucking sleep after you eat them.
Could you ask him what's better, T-bones or sex?
I believe he heard.
I would say, well, there's a lot of variables in sex, and it's also about your partner. So it depends. There are cases where I would say absolutely the sex, and there's also many occasions where I'd say, give me the T-bone.
Unless your bone's got a T in it, then probably neither.
If my bone's got a T in it, these women are in awful lot of pain. There's no T in the bone down here, just straight up. Jesus sakes. Anyway, so did you know I did a video today?
I did see that you did a video today, and just par for the course. I did not have the time to watch it.
You never do.
I know.
I mean, that's why you're the co-host.
Well, I'm consistent, if nothing else.
What is she mumbling in the background?
She said she loves me because I'm going into a different room so that she can partake in this birthday party.
Oh, all right. Well, good riddance. Goodbye. Get the fuck out of here. Tell Savage I did not say happy birthday. Nothing big and bad about them big 6-0s.
About them big 6-0s.
You're on the wrong side of the hill, darling. But in that video, listen, I don't know if I'm going to play it. Probably not. It's 30 minutes. I couldn't keep it to 15, so I didn't even try. But it's taking the facts. We've talked about it. You know that there's things with Dylan.
Right.
How I make a case for her involvement in the Idaho 4 and how it fits like a glove as far as I'm concerned to the facts they gave us. I mean, her statements, her actions, her what she claims she did. The fact that it proves she was up before, during, and after it all happened, right? She was there. I mean, that to me is the most solid person to point to instead of the fucking grub truck or some reflection in a fucking car mirror off a car door from the asphalt. Like that fucking jerk off Tommy Jude and his buddies do, or that fucking butthole. Who's that? Who's that woman that does that too with sounds and fucking video?
The central scrutinizer.
Fucking lunatics. And then 400 people watched it on a cell phone because Ann Taylor said she had 400 witnesses to interview. Right away, it became the cell phone because they broadcast the murders live on the cell phones.
Yeah.
But, nobody figured that out except for the fucking person on YouTube. Fucking believable. So
useful sources of information, right?
Well, they're just fucking volumes of fucking shit. If shit is what you like eating, then, out here, there's plenty of it.
You'll never starve to death.
No. So, but again, it's to take facts and interpret them, and you can interpret the facts in many ways. But when you start adding unknown fucking unverifiable data, it just turns into a fucking shit show. And there's your tragedy inside of a tragedy.
Yeah.
They've done it with everything.
Oh, yeah.
So, someone's in there asking me about DNA. DNA wasn't part of the stream. So you think you're asking this upper, highly intelligent fucking question about DNA that shows Brian Koberger must have done something, you stupid fuck. Even if he did do something, and even if that DNA is fucking real, you're probably not going to be able to use it because you arrested him on false pretenses.
Well, and
it's saying the guy was black and you arrested a fucking white guy. That's what happened here.
And I'm not implying that this is what went down, but for anybody that's just hung up on that DNA means he did it. Fuck everything else. Fuck the process. Fuck the system. Go put your DNA on a button of a knife sheath and hand it to somebody that's going to commit 4 homicides, and see what you think about it, because that's essentially what you're condoning. Is hey, I mean, it's cool as long as my DNA is at the crime scene. Fuck yeah, kill me. I did it. We don't need a system. That's good enough. No witch hunt needed. I'm your guy.
Yeah, because there's fucking 8 microscopic skin cells on a fucking item. That means I did it. But here's the sad part. Let's go ahead with that fucking ignorant idea. Let's ignore that it's transfer DNA, that it's dead skin cells. 80% of your home's dust is your fucking skin cells, you fucking morons. That's how fucking much skin cells you shed. So let's ignore that. Oh, that's concrete evidence. Okay, I give you that. That proves Koberger did it. So why did they call him a black, Hispanic, Asian fucking man, 11 feet fucking tall? In the accusations to arrest him. You stupid motherfuckers. So now that DNA is useless. It's going to be found to be unusable in a court of law. You can't say a black guy did it and then arrest a white guy. Unbelievable. That's the issue. That's why America is so fucked up. People they just don't want to pay attention to the data given them. They want to read it and make up their own mind what it means. Oh, look at that. There's a ghost. Oh, yeah. I don't understand, bro.
It's the it's the entertainment aspect, right? That we use the internet for these tragedies to become choose our own adventure, and that's what a lot of creators do, and a lot of viewers let the creator choose the adventure for them, right? I mean, look at the 400 people watching the pay-per-view video. Not 1 ounce of even relatable fact to that. Like, that's just the wildest bunch of bullshit ever. And, look how many people bought into it. Fucking Harsh even responded to it. Why? Why did you spend an entire video promoting this fucking ignorant thought somebody had? But anyway.
And people think they're entitled to their opinions, and I'm going to tell you, people, no, you're not. Not when you have no fucking idea. If you don't have a solid, authoritative understanding of the details, then shut the fuck up. Just shut up. That's why they call it your opinion. Just keep it to yourself. No one wants to hear that. I don't want to hear some shit about a central scrutinizer, manhole covers being fucking moved, Banfield fucking videos, police videos, fucking grub trucks, fucking karate clubs, axe clubs, restaurants, fucking fraternity. Holy fuck.
I mean, in fairness, I do understand everybody having an opinion, and everybody's opinion should be valuable to the person receiving it. However, that's only in the case of somebody forming an opinion based on the facts, not anything else, right? Because when you say that, I'm thinking back when we first started talking, and it's like, I mean, you've presented some shit that was your opinion. It's proven to be accurate for, everything I can remember. But had I just discounted it because I don't want to fucking hear this guy's opinion, then, we wouldn't have had any conversation about it. And I'd have missed out, on your view. But your opinion was based on facts.
When I said that was an 11 to 13 Hyundai Elantra, it wasn't my opinion. It was written in black and white. I didn't create that fucking car. And that's what I'm trying to get people to understand.
No, but your opinion in terms of what that meant, right?
Right. It meant that it couldn't be Kohlberger at that house.
Right.
Right. And it does mean that. And now we know for a fact but it always meant that. I think that's where I think people get confused here. You're entitled to your own opinion. Okay.
Well, let me say it this way. Opinion, yeah, it shouldn't be a matter of opinion. It should be somebody's understanding of the facts. That's probably a better way to present it, right?
Right. If the statement from the police says 11 to 13 Hyundai Elantra, that should be accepted as what the police are. That's what the police are looking for. That was the car at the crime scene. If your opinion includes saying they made a mistake, you have no basis to make that fucking statement. You just don't. Now you could suspect it, but you can't accept that as the new fact. Yeah, they made a mistake. It's really a 14 to 16, which is what people did. And the fact that the 11 to 13 is the only fact you really had became irrelevant to people. That's why opinions are bullshit. They found a guy with a car with a 2015 Hyundai Elantra, and that became now the reason and your motivation to say the car around the house was misidentified. It's just shocking to me. You have to accept what you're given in the data stream, and you have to form your opinions based on the data that you can confirm. And you can't decide that data is irrelevant because it's part of the story that you're looking at. I don't know how to say it any easier than that.
Well, and not to switch subjects or tragedies, right? But one of the things that's been sort of chapping my ass a lot lately is the behavioral analysis people. And some of them, I'll give them the credit where it's due. They'll present their view on behavior, and they'll remain neutral for the most part. But you've got some that come out and they present things as there's no alternative to what I'm saying. This is fact because I stand on my background, my experience, my education. But what they don't, they don't present that this is my opinion, because it's not an exact fucking art. It's not an exact science. I could be completely fucking wrong in everything I'm saying. And it just bugs the shit out of me, right? Because essentially they put themselves as a third party unverified source that makes themselves out to be verifiably credible, and it's bullshit, because the whole conversation they're having, the whole discussion they're having, is flawed in and of itself if you only look at it from a narrow view.
Yeah, maybe I'm wrong and everybody else is right. I mean, let's just go. Let's entertain that. That's very, very fucking more. It even seems more plausible. It even seems more sane that I'm wrong and all of these tens of thousands of fucking people out here are right, which is fine. I don't mind being wrong, but the problem that I have is by looking only at the facts, where am I going wrong? By accepting them for what they state, for what they show, and then analyzing them and trying to come up with an image or a picture or a thought of what this means. What's wrong with doing it that way?
No, there's nothing. I mean, I don't think everybody else is wrong or everybody else is right and you're wrong. I mean, at the end of the day, you can weigh them out, right? Which one's more productive? Which one gets further? Staring at a fucking video and saying that somebody's pissing on somebody in the reflections that have been removed from the video footage, or analyzing the facts that are presented before us and seeing what's there, right?
Well, how about this? Let's look at the videos of the two girls going to the grub truck. That's a fact, right?
Mm-hmm.
Connect the grub truck to the crime scene. What data did the investigation release? The police released the defense release that connects the grub truck and anybody there to this particular horrific incident. Anything
other than the driver that took them home, but based on the timeline, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Yeah.
How about the Banfield? How about the cell phones? How about the problem I have with people is that if anything that they're looking at has anything to do with this case, their answer is, well, we don't know yet. What?
Right.
What do you mean you don't fucking know yet?
We don't know yet, so let's talk about how 400 people watched it on fucking pay-per-view, and it was a Fight Club. That's fucking ridiculous. It is. It really is.
Could the Fight Club have carried over to? Yeah, sure. Could those kids walking through the field on Banfield be involved? Yeah, sure, I guess. So could Santa fucking Claus. So could I be involved, right? I could have fucked your mother. I could be your father for all the fuck you know. But where's the evidence? Where is any statement or any document or any even fucking suggestion by the authorities or even by the defense to defend Brian that these other things are relevant? And that's where it breaks down. People can't seem to get off this idea that these other videos must mean something because Brian didn't do it. And that to me is the insanity train. They don't mean anything. And if Brian didn't do it, right, then you're never going to solve it with your cell phone. I mean, I just, to me, it's almost like I'm going to solve fucking space travel by riding a bicycle. I don't see the correlation. Well, that's just the way the world's been taught to think and interpret data. And everybody thinks that's what drives me nuts with Harsh. Everything is fair game. Everything should be discussed. No, that's why nothing ever really gets fucking, nobody spends any time doing solutions. You spend all your time fucking going back and forth with crazy ideas. Nothing ever gets right. I mean,
no, that's a fair fucking point, right?
And it gets exasperated. Yeah.
The only reason all options should be discussed is because that makes a much more entertaining choose your own adventure book. Instead of path A, B, or C, you've got a fucking hexadecimal count of fucking options to go with.
Yeah, and listen, I said in the very beginning, Brian probably did it, and they fucked everything up, and they're never gonna be able to convict the guy. Now, I say that because the way this case was handled is very indicative of it. If something had to direct them that way, and even if it was the most mundane fucking thing, they do claim to have his DNA matching the DNA from the sheath. So there's something. I'm not saying that proves he did a damn thing, but I'm saying that is one piece of evidence that then you should investigate it out from. Not collect it after, right? After some accusations. Because you got to understand that's a hell of a coincidence, right?
Right.
Okay. And to me, the threat has always been that he did it and he's going to get away with it because these cops are just too fucking stupid and have never been taught how to do their own job properly. Something like that wouldn't have eluded me. I never would have let somebody arrest that motherfucker on it. If I knew there was 11 to 13 car there and I found the guy that has a 14 to 16, I would beat you to within an inch of your life if you think you were going to go arrest him.
No, I mean, that's what just, I think, upsets me the most about this thing is that PCA and looking at it and seeing that it's nothing but a narrative. It's not a probable cause, right? It's, I think we've said before, it's probable suspicion. And it's right. for that many layers of people that it has to go through to become something or to be turned into an arrest warrant, and nobody fucking stopped it. No. Like at a bare minimum, that entire town's system is fucked and needs to be looked at, seriously looked at.
Look at the two people involved in the case, the guy with the cast and then Officer Payne. Literally, Tommy Jude knows more about it than they do. And Tommy Jude is a fucking lunatic. And yet he has more understanding of the details than they do. Those are the people working for you in fucking Moscow, Idaho. Where the crackpot on the fucking internet actually has a better understanding of the facts that he twists and mangles and spits and shits and pisses on than you do. That's tragic, bro.
Yeah.
That's what got Detective John on my ass. Me saying, I hope that's the case. I hope this fucking guy did it. And everybody sees how fucked up the police departments are around the country. Because this isn't unique to Idaho. It happens everywhere. It's like you got YouTube streamers are your cops. Any wackadoodle fucking idea and they react to it. Oh my God, it looks like that guy's reaching for a gun and they shoot a guy dead. And all he was doing was reaching for his fucking cane to get himself up off the ground. It's just crazy what happens. And so many people just think that's the way it's all supposed to be. It's just crazy, man. I don't know. Maybe that's why I keep saying I think I'm probably the crazy one because I suspect or expect or at least hope that common sense will prevail. And we're just so bankrupt on common sense in this world. And people, you tell someone they don't got no common sense, they'll argue with all day to tell you they do have common sense. Common sense would tell you, listen, common sense would tell you don't argue with people that make false statements. Right? I mean, you ever say, very rarely do I respond to people calling me names or making accusations against me, right?
All right.
What is my reply? There's probably some truth to that. I'm not going to tell you what part of it's true, but have at it. Tear me up. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Holy shit, Cletus. I don't know, man.
It's a strange fucking time. Strange time.
And I wish Seth would go away and his little fucking cadre of fucking lunatics.
Yeah, that one. It's so crazy to me how I'll give you just one example, right? TRF comes out and says he wanted me to go buy him a gun.
Right.
So doesn't produce any receipts to show that. Has already proven historically that he's not a credible individual.
He's an idiot.
But the entire fucking internet takes that and runs with it as if it were fact. But everyone knows that this motherfucker has already proven multiple times he's not a credible source of information.
Right.
And he's a vindictive little bitch. And if you listen to what he said, that's why he did what he did, because he was getting back at Seth because of some personal fucking bullshit about a girl. And it's I'm not promoting Seth and what he's doing and the way he's going about it, but I will give credit where it's due. And I think the fact that people are using that situation as a means of attacking him are fucked. Because we have absolutely no idea if that shit happened or not, really, and it's none of our fucking business. What we should be upset about is the fact that T-Rev comes out on the fucking internet and accuses the father of a missing child with some illegal shit instead of just reporting it to the ATF and shutting the fuck up.
Well, in all of that, let me just say that the only kudos I give to T-Rev is that he lived with Seth and decided to stay with a woman. So that's really, if you want to give T-Rev any credit, I guess, a fucking fat fucking Thumbelina chubby versus some broad. I go live with a broad.
I did have a really good fucking insult on him a while ago. We were watching Nonsense, and she was playing this clip where Seth said something, and he goes, "Ooh, that gave me chills all up my body." And I said, "Well, they didn't have very far to fucking go, did they?"
Although that chill would have to fucking circle the globe in essence to just make it around his body. Thank God he said.
No, T-Rev said that. T-Rev said that. I got
T-Rev.
chills up. Yeah, chills went all up my body, and I said, "Well, they didn't have very far to fucking go."
That fucking feeling didn't even have to stand up to get it done. Fucking guy. It's just.
But my point, thinking about the title of this and the topic tonight, right? It's. I look at that and I think about when he did that and how many people flocked to it, how many people have ran with it, how many people have capitalized off of that one piece of fucking bullshit that may or may not be true, but it came from a proven, uncredible source. And it's like the entertainment aspect of this shit is just beyond me. It really is.
Well, I'm going to torture you with my little 30-minute clip.
All right.
And by the way, good exit last night. After you left, did you hear what I said?
No.
I said I've got the whole world in a panic. They're either going to get hung up on by me or they're going to flee before I have the chance to hang up on them.
Oh, fuck.
Well, this is like my third different title. Idaho 4, A View of Dylan and Bethany. I'm going to recap and try to keep it as simple as possible and as short as possible. Data that we can confirm it is fact. And I'm going to run through the scenario with those facts.
Why don't you turn yourself up to like 1.5 speed?
We're told that somebody entered that home with a K-bar knife in a sheath that was not attached to them, even though it's designed to be physically attached to your belt. Okay. And that person went up a flight of stairs and committed a horrific act of murder against 2 young women. And the commission of this crime, this person's knife sheath that obviously wasn't attached to them at all, ended up on the bed, partially under the bedspread, and the victim, Maddie, face down on the bed, viewable from the doorway, according to what the police have told us. Let's just examine that quickly, folks. Let's pretend. Let's not even pretend that. Let's just say that somebody with the intent to go cause bodily injury or murder is going to go into a home with arguably a devastating weapon called a K-bar. A K-bar that is typically sharp enough and pointy enough that you would keep it in its sheath to protect yourself from it. A sheath that's designed to be firmly attached to the person to give you not just easy access, but a safe way to move the blade around to keep your hands free. Yet we're made to understand that a person with this kind of a weapon walked into the home with it in their hand, which is no less akin to a man with a gun with the bullets in his pocket entering that property. He entered a home to commit homicide with a weapon that was not prepared for the work at hand as they entered that home and went up that staircase. Now, if it were unsheathed, that would require the person that was going to commit this crime to have both hands engaged, moving the sheath and knife through that home, and ultimately left that sheath in the room where Maddie and Bethany were. Is that possible? Sure. But how well does it really fit that data set? How well does it really fit that data set? Let me propose an alternative to what you're saying. Let me go back to the beginning where they told us this was a crime of passion. And then they stuttered and fucked themselves into telling you something else. A crime of passion based on the circumstances that they observed once they came upon the crime scene itself. We all agreed that made sense. And I think if we're willing to look at that, we're going to look at a crime of passion. And the story that I'm about to tell you is fiction. I don't know it to be accurate, any more accurate than the story they told you about Brian, a story that we now know is virtually being destroyed by their own admissions. No stalking, no photo of his car, someone else's car. They've admitted that. No phone pings placed him at the house, and the locations that they're claiming exist on his driving after the crime place him nowhere near the crime on their own admissions. So let's throw that away and put it. Let's package that up and put it in a little book and we'll put it on a shelf, because that's what we're told, that's what happened. And this is what we must believe, even though that's pretty much been destroyed. So let's now look at the data in a different light. Let's take into things that we comfortably are aware of. We're comfortably aware of the fact that generally a crime like this is done from an inner circle or from the inner circle's circle. So I'm friends with you, and your circle, your friends may have ancillary connection or knowledge of me. So your circle isn't just your immediate friends, it's also your immediate friends' friends that become either directly or indirectly part of your circle. And typically, when you look at any kind of a crime like this, isn't it rather curious that more often than not, the person or persons that were there before, during, and after and reported it, isn't it more likely and more oftenly taking place that those people were involved? Now, let's be honest here. That's a fact. It's not me making stuff up because I want to paint this picture. I have no horse in this race. I have none. I don't care if 2 people watch this. You click me a million times. I ain't getting any money for it, folks. Don't need your money. Don't want your damn money. But I do want to help people try to analyze facts for what they are. To look at the data and only examine the data and see where the data fits itself in, right? Without coming out with some, well, this could have happened. No. I don't know that Kohberger did it. You don't know that Kohberger did it. I don't know who did it. I don't know. Some people are out there claiming fraternities, and they're putting all of these crazy, well, look at this and look at that. There was one story that 400 people witnessed this happen on cell phones. Why? Because the defense said they had 400 witnesses to interview. And they immediately jumped that this was being broadcast live on the phone. And everybody, with 400 people, witnessed these murders. I'm not going to give you a story like that, folks. You can't verify it. There's nothing to prove that. And then it was finally confirmed, in fact, that the 400 witnesses were for a jury survey. A jury survey that confirmed Brian Kohberger's 12 previous trips to that area did not include stalking any of the victims. Okay? That's what we learned from that jury survey. So back to the situation in the house. Let's run the situation in the house under a different pretext. Let's consider that the people that are in the house are involved in the crime. I think that that's justified. I don't say that this in no way, shape, or form, just some guy. It's just my opinion. It does, you know what I mean? My thoughts on this, my assemblage of the information, which in no way, shape, or form can be used to hurt or harm anybody. This is just what I see the story of the facts telling me. So let's let these facts tell a story. I'll share the story that the facts have told me. Taking what I've already said about the knife, let's step forward into this particular idea. Nobody entered that home with the intent to kill. And what happened on the 3rd floor of that home, there was never any intent to kill whatsoever by any of the two young women there, or the third party that entered that room. And that's unequivocal. A third party entered that room. There's no doubt about that. At that point, something took place and these 2 young women lost their lives. One of them fighting back ferociously, that then took many, many more wounds and I think this is what contributed to the idea of a crime of passion. So let me lay this particular scenario out for you. And I am not saying that this happened, nor am I saying, and I'm going to bring Dylan into this, I am not saying Dylan did anything wrong that night. I'm only giving you a story based on facts, a story that can be made based on real data. If we're to assume, right, or we're to go and fuck the assume, let's just take the fact. The fact is it was a crime of passion. Who could that have been? Could have been one of the girl's boyfriends or girlfriends. It could have been the boy that they were texting that night. That's been ruled out. He had an alibi. So where else could a crime of passion have occurred? And what we know, the only indication we have of any kind of a relationship that could include passion would be between the 3 girls, and Bethany being the center of the passion between Dylan and Maddie. Dylan, who invited her back based on data we've been given to be her number 1. Bethany, who accepted to come back. I want to interrupt this here. I do realize that I've often made that mistake by fumbling the names between Bethany and Kaylee. Bethany, I'm not talking about Bethany here. Kaylee is who I'm referring to. And I apologize. Maybe if there was a way I could actually overlay that on this video, I would. But when I use the word Bethany in the room and all the other things that you'll see me screw up with, I am actually referring to Kaylee. You've seen me do that throughout this whole thing, right? For the last 2 years.
I've seen you do that for fucking months. So I'd say,
yeah, man.
I pretty much knew who you were referring to.
Yeah, so I do mean Kaylee, folks. I know I made that mistake after the video was done, and this was my 3rd iteration of the video. I just wasn't going to make a 4th. Okay. Those are the facts. chew on them. Okay. All right. She wanted to show her friends her new Range Rover. And she came and she was Dylan's first or something, or Dylan's number one at a college event. Listen, I didn't go to college, so I just want to say I don't even know what that is. If you're going to invite somebody to be your first or whatever the hell, I don't know what that is. I don't really care to know what it is. All I know is that's the facts that have been presented to us. So Bethany's presence in that house, which she had already moved out of, was unique, and the knowledge of her presence in that house would have been unique as well. Okay, and as much as people knew the people in that house all knew she was going to be there. Okay? And they all knew that she was there that night after the events, because this murder took place after the events of the being my first or my number one. So the people in that house definitively knew her presence existed. It seems to me that the fact can suggest that Dylan went up into that room and was jealous, and an argument ensued. And that knife that was part of this crime was presented by one of the victims as a means to tell Dylan, get the F away from me, stay back, I'm going to defend myself. And it appears that knife was taken from the girl that pulled that knife. I say this for a couple of reasons. This scenario does fit when you look at where the knife sheath was located. The knife sheath was on the bed, under the comforter, under the thigh or hip or something of Maddie, right? Which would place the knife sheath in the left hand of whoever placed it there. Now, being that most people, and I'm pretty sure both of those young women were right-handed, is it possible Maddie did this? Sure, Maddie could have put the sheath there as well and held the knife in her left hand. That may be how the knife was taken. That may be how the crime started. It was a crime of passion. It was a crime of anger and jealousy. And it erupted. And the knife, once it was introduced into this argument, became the weapon that was used to take the lives of these two young women with not the intent of murder. Just raw rage and passion and jealousy and anger and being threatened with that knife, and it just went out of control. I think the facts can support that. I think the fact that the police told us that knife sheath was visible from the doorway, that it was face down in the bed, it makes it seem as if that knife, well, it doesn't even make it seem. That knife, you can almost say that sheath was placed there, which I think the defense attorney did. And everybody jumped for that. And let me be clear, I'm not accusing the police of anything here. I'm not saying they put it there, not even close. I'm saying that knife was part of that room. It was in the possession of one of the victims, and it was placed there by one of the victims. And that knife was sadly turned upon the victims. And that's how they became the victims that they are. And the person that did that, it's likely it could have been either Dylan or Bethany. I focus more towards Dylan, and you'll see why as I move forward with just facts. How do you explain the murders in the front of the house? Well, we know that as of 4:12 a.m., Zaina had made a TikTok post or was doing something on TikTok. So we can be confident that from somewhere between 4:12 a.m. forward, Zaina and Ethan lost their lives. I suspect, based on the data that we have, that they were not targets, that they inadvertently, and I think it was Zaina, inadvertently came across Dylan after Dylan committed the crime. For whatever reason this may be, it couldn't have been the DoorDash because that came in around 4. But could it have been because of the noises that she was hearing? Could she have come out of her room? And again, I'm using could, but surrounding an absolute fact. We know they're deceased. We know the two girls upstairs were deceased while she was down on her phone using TikTok. They were being deceased at least. Right? So how the interaction between Dylan and Zaina played out, I highly suspect that whatever that was, whatever initiated that contact was of no motive to make contact, that it was just a bad luck. Bad situation, bad luck, and you ended up with another brawl in the front room, Dylan with the knife, then assaulting and taking the lives of the two people in the front room, as they would have, just out of fright, out of being scared, right? I mean, there's two young women upstairs that she just deceased, and now somehow, whatever the means, came in contact with Zaina. I specifically say Zaina because Zaina, unlike Ethan, was not located on the bed. Right? Or no, we know he wasn't. I'm sorry. He was located by the door the next morning. But she was located deeper in the room towards that exterior wall. So some battle must have taken place. Some kind of fight ensued. And these two people were then ultimately, their lives were taken. Now I'm going to get into more details surrounding Dylan and why I tend to look at her as part of the story. Not that she did it, not that she did it this way, not that she had anything to do with it. Okay. But if you're going to look at the facts and try to fit a player into those facts, that's what I'm doing here. Okay. And let's just say an innocent player. So fine, we'll go with that. A completely innocent player. So let's now move forward. Let's go back to what we are now told to believe. We're made to believe that these 4 victims in 2 different rooms on 2 diametrically opposed parts of the home, in a pair, each in a pair, were their lives were taken by a K-bar knife. The person that committed this crime left Zena's room and to walk up a hallway and get around a staircase that has a waist-high wall on it. So the hallway is your hallway you always picture as being closed on all two sides of the ceiling of the floor, right? You can't see anything because you're in a hallway. But this hallway, the main walls, after you got past the bathroom, drop down to a half wall. So you could literally see crossed over into Dylan's room from that point. The staircase that you were walking around leads to the first floor where Bethany stays. We're to understand that this person left this room, rounded that staircase, crossed the main living area, and then Dylan states that she witnessed this person, clad in black, wearing a mask with bushy eyebrows, approximately 5'10". This is what we were told by Dylan herself. And this particular statement, there's a lot of problems with this statement, folks. There's a lot of reasons to be suspicious about this statement. And here it is when you consider the environment. And I'll start with the beginning. So a person comes into the home from the sliding glass door, approaches through the kitchen, and the first thing they come in contact with, or the first visual cue of anything, is her door, not stairs, not a living room. Coming from the sliding glass door and heading towards the hallway, the only thing you would really have in your vision for the first few steps is that door. Be straight in front of you. That person then went up the stairs, committed a crime, came down the stairs, went past that door again, committed a crime, and then when they were leaving, that door was open. And there was a 5'10" tall, athletically built blonde looking out that made the identification of this individual that she claims was in that house. This is where her description of the events are suspect. The statement that he wore a mask is telling. That means she saw the person face on. The face had bushy eyebrows. The person was clad in black. An observation you could make from any angle. But the only way you could observe a mask and bushy eyebrows is from a face-on encounter. And the face-on encounter would have to have come from the common area. As he was walking towards me. Walking towards you would have to come from the common area. And the common area is roughly 5 or 6 inches higher than the bedroom and kitchen floors. In other words, in order to go from the kitchen or the hallway to the common area, you must go up a step. That step will add 5 inches to your height. So in her statement, where this person was 5'10" or taller, walking towards her, clad in black, okay, and all the other, the bushy eyebrows, the mask. The question you have to ask is that once he stepped down from that particular step and made his way out towards the sliding glass door, she indicated she witnessed. How is it the person went from being 5'10" or taller, not to 5'5" or taller? Once he stepped on the common floor that she was on, he would have been shorter than her, noticeably so, and that would have stuck with her. If he were really 5'10" of equal height to her, okay, then when she noticed him, again, it places her looking out of the door. It would place her in such close proximity to this person that literally you wouldn't even have to extend your arm fully out to come in contact with one another. The hallway is one stride. You step from the step down, and your next step puts you into the kitchen, or right almost exactly into the kitchen. You're right there. You're right in front of Bethany's door, or not Bethany, Dylan's door. So this area is so confined and so small. The areas are separated by 5 or 6 inches of height, that there would have been more for you to observe, or maybe more accuracy could have been given in your description. Because once this person that was 5'10" or taller is observed as they walk toward you, would have shrank marginally when they started heading towards the kitchen, because they would have had to step down. So her statement is all over the fucking place. And it doesn't comport when you try to parse it through on human nature, on human condition. When you're asked a question, okay, if I walk out into a parking lot and I say, hey, is that your car? You're going to give me the truth. What a lot of people don't realize is what makes lying so hard is you're naturally inclined to give the truth. Now, unless you're a sociopath. But most people, folks, just, is that your car? No, it's not my car. Why? And then so here, let's follow her description. 5'10" athletic build describes her. And then suddenly, which is what a lie requires. A lie requires a truth to hide. And I want someone to go ahead and disprove me there. You're hiding the truth when you tell a lie. 5'10" athletic build, clad in black, wearing a mask with bushy eyebrows, is a description of one needle somewhere on the globe and or moon. Now go find it. You see, her statement to me of the description of this person is not only convoluted and a bit nonsensical, but it makes more sense when you realize it takes to lie. And when you describe yourself at 5'10" or taller, that would be or 5'10" and athletic build, that would be her own description. And then you jump into the abnormal clad in black and blah, 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 blah. That then is for your initial truth. That's how I interpret that. Now, could I be wildly wrong? Absolutely. But it's just an interpretation of the data. right? I have no evidence to support this stuff, nor do they have any evidence apparently to support their accusations against Koberger. What's good for the goose, good for the gander, folks. Okay. So we have all of those issues with her description. Let's go further into the things that she told us, because she told us more and they don't make sense. She looked out of her room 3 times. Now, let me just say that puts her awake during the crime, in the house, awake during the crime. Not, but she's not involved. Okay. During her 3 times of opening the door, she claims that they were for reasons that, let me just say, folks, that some of the things that she claims she witnessed and heard are things to me that proximity should be considered, especially when it comes down to a whimper. If you could hear a whimper, I suspect you're pretty close to it. I don't suspect you're across, you're in the middle of the home and the whimper came from the front or the upstairs where the two crimes were committed. And if you can be susceptible enough to hear a whimper, you don't even have to have somebody scream to hear the kind of struggle that must have took place during the assault and the murder of these 4 people. You wouldn't have to hear a voice. The struggle itself would be obvious if you're capable of hearing a whimper. All right. These things, folks, are facts that I'm interpreting based on what seems to be very sensible here. How can you have this kind of activity within your home, right? And you can't hear anything unusual there, but you hear a whimper. Now let me go on further. Hope you see where this is going when it comes to the frozen shock face. How is it that you could witness this person that doesn't see you face on, but you see them face on, standing in the doorway, and you're a very tall, long-haired blonde girl at night, probably wearing whatever, right? And that person that just committed these 4 horrific homicides doesn't observe you and doesn't take any action against you? No, quite the contrary. That person walks out towards the sliding glass door like he owns the fucking place. And you, what do? Well, you tell it you go into frozen shock phase. And you close and lock your door. A reaction of flight or fright is your claim. That's what took place. And yet, after this witnessing, after this fear that froze you, you didn't call for help, whether it be the authorities or anyone from outside of that property to come help you. As a matter of fact, that activity of calling for help or anybody outside of that property, including the authorities, didn't happen for 8 hours after the crime's commission. That's rather suspicious. That's rather suspect. How can you take that data set that we all know exists? How can you take that data set and not ask yourself, is it possible the girls or one of the girls had any involvement in what happened here, either directly or indirectly through knowledge? How is it you heard somebody say, it's okay, I'm here to help? How is it that you heard somebody whimper? I don't object to the dog bark, and I can't stand dogs that bark. But so I can hear that. That to me, that's fine. That I'll accept. You didn't have to be in proximity for the dog for you to hear that, right? So fair enough. But when it comes to the statement, it's okay, I'm here to help, and a whimper, I think proximity is important in trying to understand how that could be heard, but not the struggles that ensued within that home. Struggles, let's be clear, struggles for your life of 4 adults. These aren't children, these are adults. Your life, you're struggling. And nobody heard that? Dylan didn't hear that? He didn't hear that? Highly suspect, folks. Now, I'm going to end this, and I'm going to say that I in no way, shape, or form have any understanding or any knowledge or anything that would imply that this is what happened in that house. I only am taking the information they gave me, and I'm looking at the available people that could be involved here. I'm not looking for drug cartels. I'm not accusing people of watching 400 people watching this murder happen on their cell phone. I'm not talking about reflections in asphalt. I'm not creating information and assembling it. I'm not creating fake bullshit to make the story that I just told you fit. The story that I told you fit because it fits. It doesn't mean it's real. It doesn't mean it happened that way, but it's rather freaking curious that all that data can fit in there. And the explanations and the questions that should be applied to the data that we were given were never asked. This was never allowed to be talked about openly on the internet. People were shamed and shut down or booted or kicked or blocked in streams. I went through all of that. This particular analysis of the facts I've had since 2023, early 2023. And after everything died down in July of 23, I had me, myself, and several other people that had channels. We're going to start to address this issue. And what happened? Boom, the Linda Lane footage showed up. And this particular bit of information I'm sharing with you now, I didn't have a stream and I didn't want to be a streamer. And so the assemblage of these pieces of data, although I had them and I've had them for ever since I reviewed the data, were silenced by many of you people that think you have some moral superiority to others. You have a horrific homicide. Everybody and everything deserves to be questioned, but everything and everything shouldn't be questioned in a way to impugn and accuse. If the facts make that statement, fine. That still doesn't mean the facts are accurate. But if you can assemble this information as I have in a timeline, in a data set based only on the fact, then it should be considered. That's it. To not do that, they have to talk about the Banfield. They have to talk about the Frats. They have to talk about the grub truck. None of that shit is anywhere in any way, shape, or form connected to this crime in any of the legal documents, arguments, or proceedings, and any of the accusatory documents. None of that stuff has any connection to this crime scene, except in your own head. Now, does that mean your analysis couldn't be true? No. No, but your analysis doesn't have any solid footing on fact. None. Yeah, they were at the grub truck. So does that mean the grub truck had something to do with their murders? No. Or anybody around the grub truck? They look suspicious. They look this. No. You can't connect any of the people you're suggesting are involved to the house, to the time, to the crime. But you can connect Dylan and Bethany, can't you? You see? Before, during, after, and part of the contact. Bethany is said to have been out front, Dylan in the home. Listen, think on this, folks. Don't go around accusing Dylan of doing anything. That's not why I made this. The primary purpose for making this was to show you that when you stay in the lines, when you color within the lines of the data that you have, there is information that you can derive from that. Not meaning that that information is written in stone like the 10 Commandments, but meaning that that information, because it does correlate and connect dots, should have always been considered, should have been looked at. And now here we are, all these 18 months later, and the case around Kohlberger appears to be crumbling. And now people are wondering what happened. What happened? The house is gone. The main house is gone from this. The major piece of where the crimes took place completely erased. I suspect that there can be more investigation, should be more investigation. If they have other evidence that shows Kohlberger did it, then fantastic. Then lock the guy up and do what you got to do according to your laws. But at this stage of the game, folks, fairly enough, I'm posting this pretty late in the game. There's no question about it. But it's nothing that I've never said before. These facts I've arranged in the order that's consistent with the way they were delivered to us. These statements that were made by the people that remained in the property, Dylan, accordingly, are exactly the statements. I didn't add anything to them. I didn't say, well, if she saw this, I didn't do any of that, folks. I took her own words and pointed out to you that those own words don't really conform or fit the story that they're portrayed to fit. And the reason they don't is because of many, many things in the story that don't make damn sense. And the fact that the person they're claiming did it, there's more evidence now to show that he didn't than there was ever to show that he did. And the evidence that's being disputed, I'm going to end with this. The court and the defense attorney, the court and the prosecution attorney have confirmed multiple times that in the issue of the arrest warrant and subsequent warrants against Brian Kohlberger in the immediate aftermath of them deciding he was the perpetrator, not any of the IgG or any DNA was used to obtain these warrants. The only information that was used to obtain these warrants resides inside the PCA, which at this point has been completely debunked. So what will that leave us with? Right? Being debunked, and you still have the ultimate horrific event that took place that night. How are any of the facts that are pertinent here? How are any of the things that we can actually put our hands around and read and discuss? How can they be applied to the ultimate situation of 4 homicides in that house? And I suspect the police had it right in the beginning and didn't realize it when they said crime of passion. You like how I just ended it like that? Crime of passion.
I do.
And I just left.
We just hung up on it.
I'm
I want to say 2 things real quick. I was watching you put the comments up on the screen. So, Paula, everything we have seen, including the floor plans of the house, say that what you've got that backwards. You do step down from the living area into the kitchen.
right.
The other thing I wanted to say was to Spivey, right? So, and anybody that thinks that same way, because Clue addressed, and I was in there with her when she, in the very beginning of this, she was on the train of thought that, the most likely suspect was Dylan. And a lot of people came in and were like, oh, I can't believe you'd be blaming her and this and that. And, it was a situation of nobody's blaming anybody. But if you're, everybody comes to true crime, and I think this is relevant to the title of this stream, right? Tragedy, and it has become entertainment. If you're not able or willing to come into one of these situations and look at the facts and consider all possibilities, regardless of your personal feelings toward a gender and what they're capable of or not, and look at the facts around it, then you're probably in the wrong genre. Because if you can't do that, then you're obviously using this for entertainment, and there's no fucking entertainment in a tragedy.
No, and I'm not trying to entertain people. All I was trying to show you was that when the given information available to us is 1 through 50, right? And then you assemble 1 through 50 without adding any inside influence, any idea of some other bullshit like the grub truck. Dylan, rightly so, is added in my narrative because she's told us she was there before, during, and after. She was part of the actual discovery of the crime. Now, I don't know about you guys, but most crimes where somebody is that closely connected to it, they're involved somehow. That doesn't mean Dylan's involved, but you have to consider who did this.
Well,
And is the story that's assembled for us, does it make sense that somebody within that property could have been involved? And I think you've got to be just ignorant not to realize, sure, that's highly probable. Happens in lots of cases.
well, and I would say this, right? For anybody that's shocked and awed about the possible, just accepting the possibility of Dylan, how many of them are quick to say, yeah, it makes sense, Katie did it?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it really is that situation. And I think people should think about that get ass hurt over evaluating a female as a potential suspect in this situation, because you're likely you're just following a narrative. You're following something somebody told you instead of looking at the facts as they are.
Even worse is when somebody brings up the grub truck or the band field or whatever they bring up. You're letting them put an idea in your head that has no supportable basis in any of the data released thus far. Now, you can say, well, they just haven't released it yet. Well, then don't talk about it yet. How about that? God damn it. Right? I don't care what you think happened here. But if you've got to create outside stories that have no connection in reality because reality hasn't given you that data, then you're just walking down the whole rabbit hole. And listen, Brian, Paula, no one's attacking you. If you enter from the sliding glass door and walk through the kitchen to the common area, you must step up.
Yeah, it is
into the common area.
It's a step up into that living room.
If you're going from the common area to the kitchen, you must step down.
Yeah, so if you're standing in Dylan's room and you open the door, which swings to the right, and you look to the right, and look down, you would see the step up into the living room.
Yes.
Yeah.
You step up to get to the living room.
So him coming at her would have appeared to be, if he's 6'2" and it was him, he would have appeared to be 6'7".
He would appear to monstrous to her. If you, and she said walking towards her, so there's no other room to say he didn't come from. In other words, that denotes direction without her even having to tell you. What were you going to say? You said start something.
You are being summoned to a birthday party and asked to come on panel.
Uh-oh.
So Clue is sending you the link.
She's sending me the link in what? In Discord?
Yeah.
Tell her to send it to Discord and give me a few minutes and I'll come into the 49+11 birthday party.
All right. He said send it to Discord and give him a few minutes. He'll come into the 49+11 birthday party.
I got them women all riled up. Don't ever talk to a woman about her age, bro. And don't bring religion and politics to a birthday party. Leave it home. I thought you said that there was a step down coming from the bedroom to the landing. No. We were very clear about what we said. I think. But anyway, we're on the same page. That's all that matters, Brian Paul. And I banned Spivey. Okay. I don't give a fuck what people think about who this persons and people were left in that home alive. Therefore, they're part of the crime scene. You can call them victims. You could do whatever you want. That's fine. And I'm not saying they're not victims. All I'm saying to you is that when you observe a crime scene like that, you have to, if you're going to interpret the data and not include the people that were in the house, there's something mentally wrong with you. You have to. They were fucking there and they admit they were there. Not only that, she was awake, right or wrong, Cletus?
Yeah.
Who told her she was awake? She did.
Right.
Right. Every element that you need to show that she could have been involved in that crime was presented to us by her, not me. I didn't make them facts up. She did.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
That's fair.
So I'm not going down a road that's inappropriate or immoral. I'm sorry. I don't give a fuck if those were two men, and I didn't say this in the stream, but if me and Cletus were in that house, me and Cletus would be in jail right now.
Absolutely. Right? No question about it.
We'd be the accused.
And probably have a PCA that reads a lot more logical and straightforward than a fucking narrative. Yeah. Like a rough draft of a fucking mystery novel.
Good. We'd be in trouble, wouldn't we? Oh, and I'd be getting people out of their jail system while they were holding me. You can mark your words on that. I'd be doing some free lawyering while I was down there. They'd hate me. They'd be either convict him or get rid of him. This guy's empty in the prison. I ain't having none of that shit, bro.
Empty something.
Oh my God. Well, my head is empty sometimes. But look, I guess I don't know if I probably didn't accomplish. I think I probably caused as much chaos as I didn't intend to cause. But these people were part of the crime scene. This person was a very vocal witness to the crime scene, and they told us what they did and what they saw, and it doesn't comport. Okay, is it possible she's given us exactly what happened? Okay, I accept that that's possible, sure, but you have to also accept that even though she made these statements, that it isn't exactly as she had spoken it, and that she may in fact be protecting herself or others that were in that crime scene that she may have been aware of or knew. I have a lot of problems with the 8-hour delay, a lot of problems with a door that because it's hinged on the right, when it opens, there's no way when you're coming from the common area, you can't see that. It was a dimly lit house, very dimly lit house. There was that sign on the wall. What was that sign on the wall there that put light into the room? So there's a lot of elements of the crime that when you try to take them at face value and make sense of them, they just don't fit together. Now, that could be because Dylan made a couple of errors in her statement. That could be because Dylan neglected to add more to the statement. Or it could be that there's a lot more to what Dylan is saying and she's trying to hide it. And you have to be open-minded enough to accept that. I'm the same way with Brian. If you could bring me a piece of evidence that so far doesn't attach to the PCA and it's conclusive evidence, I'll accept it. But when your PCA, when your accusation is the equivalent of telling me a black guy committed the crime and you arrested a white guy, you're already on the path of fruit from the poison tree. When your arrest warrant accused a black man of doing it, and here you are with a white guy, and the circumstances that you applied to the guy being black are the same circumstances you're alleging this white guy did. Can't have it both ways. You can't tell me it's he drives a 15 or a 16 and then get on the stand and tell me that the images of the house or a car around that house was the 11 to 13, that those images are accurate. That description is accurate. And then go arrest the guy with a 2015. That's why I say it's like accusing a black guy and then arresting a white guy or vice versa. It just doesn't make sense, folks. You can't say that he stalked them and let the public run around and all the news media screaming, Brian stalked him 12 different times. And then to come out and admit he didn't. Right? And all that chaos is okay. All of these guilters think that that's fine. But when you start to actually look at the crime scene and look at who was there, who could possibly have been involved in the crime? Is it some random guy that walked in off the street? Because that's what Kohberger's been turned into. Not a stalker, no connection to the victims, electronic or otherwise. No biological material connecting him to the victims in his car or anywhere else. You should have known that before you charged this guy. You see, everything was done backwards. And that's it. I think I spoke my piece. And yeah, Spivey, these people with these higher moral views that you can't talk, blah, 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 blah. Get the fuck out of my stream. Go somewhere else. All right, folks, have a good night. We'll see you. I'm going to go over and take a beating in, what's her name stream there? Hang on, I'll tell you. Savage Nation, I think it is. What is it called? It's something like that. But anyway, love doing this. Enjoy you guys. Enjoy the weekend. We'll see you Monday. Cletus, he jumped out of here quick. He does not want to be hung up on, apparently. And he ran with his tail between his legs. Don't forget, Cletus is almost cowardly like when it comes to closing the stream.